What is up, guys? My name is Paul. Today I'm going to show you how to mount a Minn Kota Ultrex on the bow of your boat. If you've been thinking about buying this trolling motor and you just kind of want to see the steps it takes to install it, or if you've already bought it and you're trying to look and get some tips and suggestions on how to install this motor, stay tuned. Alright guys, so we got us a clean slate here. Looks like I already have the Minn Kota mount bolts here from a previous motor, which was not the motor guide. I think they had an edge on here. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but I guess the first thing we need to do is take this 1/4 inch bolt out with an Allen wrench to put our trolling motor head on. Alright guys, this is the most important thing about this whole trolling motor operation. You'll have the assembly here that deploys the trolling motor, and then you'll have the trolling motor itself, the power head here. So you cannot do anything with this until you take this bolt out right here. Once you take that bolt out, then you're going to slide this power head onto the assembly. So once you get that bolt out of the assembly, you just take your whole power head and slide it on the end. Just like that. And you're gonna put your bolt on it. One bolt holds this thing together, secures it. Put your bolt back in, and what that allows you to do is unstow the trolling motor. See that? So now I'm able to open this thing up and mount it. Now I took the side plates off also so that I could get to my screws, and thank God I have the pattern for a Minn Kota already, or I'd be out here drilling holes. But all right, so that's very important. You can't do anything till you put this head on here and put this bolt back on here, because it won't allow you to open it up. All right, so once we do that, we can pull our rope here and put our trolling motor back, and we can go ahead and mount our bolts on. So I just got one in here to kind of hold it in place now, and I'm just going to pick it up and put it back. That little gas shock right there is going to fall out, so you will have to mount it on. And that little gas shock right there is just to assist you when you pulling on the trolling motor, putting the trolling motor down. So really cool little shock assist right there. But I already have the holes here for my Minn Kota setup, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these on, and I'll get back with you. Now you will need a number 3 cross tip screwdriver for these Phillips head screws also. Alright, so guys, I fastened down the deploy assembly here, and I'm putting this side plate back on. I took this little side plate off to fasten these bolts down, and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. That one's already tightened it already, and I'm gonna hit this one. All right, now I gotta put the plastic plate back over here that come off the side. The 2 plastic side plates go on next. All right guys, so just gonna put these plates back on. We got our strap here. And I hope that I didn't put it too tight and I got my strap in the right place so I can grab the other side there. I may not have, I don't know, I may have to redo it, but Make sure that strap is in a position to where you can go over the top and Velcro it. Alright guys, so I got both my side plates on. I got the deploy bracket mounted down to the boat. And what we're gonna do now is undo this and hook our shock up. Our assist shock here. And what we're gonna do is just line it up. You see we got these two things here, and right here is where we put our little bolt through our shock right here. All right, so this is kind of a tricky step. What you want to do is put one of these on each side of the cylinder and push this pin assembly through here. And it's kind of tricky to do by yourself, but hopefully we can get it lined up here. There we go. And you got to be really careful here because you can really pinch your hand. All right, we got it through there. And now we're gonna take our Phillips head screws. Looks like they put a little Loctite on there for us. Just want to get it started here the best I can. Come back and put the screwdriver to it. Oh yeah. Get cooking with gas now. That's our lift assist shock, which makes this thing a whole lot easier to move. Go on this other side. Now you will have to hold this in place with a screwdriver on one side and tighten the other side up, because the whole thing will just spin on you. And once you get that shock in, those two screws for that shock in, I'm just gonna hit it with the screwdriver on each side, or just keep it pinned on one side. Tighten up this side, and that's good. I mean, we're cooking with gas. This baby is good to go, like it's standing up on its own right now with that little shock assembly. How cool is that, man? Super cool. I mean, that really just makes it so much easier, and that's the little things about Minn Kota that I like. That's why I just took that motor guide off right there and put one of these on, because it deploys so easy. I mean, it's awesome. All right, let's go on to the next step. All right guys, so this is your bounce buster assembly, and as you can see, it bolts here. It's got these two bolts that go through, and it goes right here, but you're gonna have to cut this thing down. You know, some people like to have them up because they don't like to fully deploy the motor, and some people like to have them, you know, where it actually sits at. So you're gonna have to cut some off of this thing to make it fit to how you want it. And make sure, guys, make sure that you take the threaded end off. Don't cut the threaded end, okay? I'm just gonna take this thing off right now, and I'm gonna bolt it up to the motor power head there. So I'm gonna take my threads out. This goes on this, of course, when you put that back on. But I'm gonna take my end with no threads and trim it down to size. All right, so I got my bounce buster mount onto the power head here, and now I'm just gonna measure from the bottom of the mount here down to the deck of the boat with the boot on, the rubber piece on here. And just remember that when you take your measurement from here, you're gonna go from the nut down, because the nut's gonna be here, underneath. Okay, so from the nut down, whatever you get here, whatever kind of measurements and distance you get here, you want to make sure you make that distance here down. So if it's like 9 or 10 inches, whatever, I'm going to start 9 or 10 inches from the nut down, not from here down, from the nut down. Alright, so here's something else I noticed. If you do cut it like short and you want to stow it all the way, but then like your tournament fishing, you can always back this thing out an inch or so it don't like completely lock down on you. Move this nut up and you can do it like that. It'll give you that extra inch or so it doesn't completely stow in, so you just can rip that baby up. Alright guys, for your prop, you're gonna remove your nut. You have a flat washer and you have a red washer. You're gonna take those off. You're gonna discard the red washer, and then there's a piece of plastic here that you just slide off. There you have your pin going through the shaft of your trolling motor here. And at this time you can put on your prop. See, it's got a groove in it. Gonna put your groove over that pin that goes through that shaft, and then you're gonna put your flat washer on and your nut, but I have a TH Marine eliminator, so I'm gonna put it on. I'm just gonna tighten it up a little bit, and we'll keep going. All right guys, so once I got this thing mounted on here, I did mount my GPS puck right here on the front, head and sensor toward the front, and of course I wired my power wires into my plug and to plug into my receptacle, which gave me power here to the foot pedal and to the trolling motor. And all I did was push the power on, and I pushed this blue little button here, this little beacon, it flashes, and I'd already went through the rotations with it and it was all synced up already, so everything was working fine. It was really easy to operate, no issues there. Once you get to where you want to mount your transducers, always tape your transducer wires on top of your shaft here, because you'll pinch them on the sides. Even though it does have a slot here, you still will pinch your transducer cables here, so put it on top with tape. I see a lot of people putting zip ties on, and I don't recommend that, because if you chip or kink or pinch your cable wires to your transducer, a lot of people or factories will not replace the product. If you nick these wires, if you cut these wires, if you pinch these wires and there's zip ties on them, they will not replace that product. So that's a Garmin Panoptix transducer, and if you cut that cable right there, dude, that's like $1,500. You're trying to splice it back together and you won't never get it back the way it was. So just a little tip there. When you run your wires, leave a little slack, okay, so when you deploy this motor, everything won't get pinched and binded up, and when it rotates, you'll actually have enough room for it to spin all the way around without ripping wires out of anything. Alright guys, so I already got this thing mounted. Now, we went through all the steps, but I just want to do a review for you real quick to let you guys know a few things I ran into that kind of gave me a little hiccup, and I want you guys to be prepared for it. So here we go. Alright, so let's review. The first thing we're going to do is put our strap down on the boat first. Okay, this assembly here and the power head are separate, and you cannot do anything with this motor because it's going to be in the deployed position here, you have to take this nut out. You're not gonna have this power head on. You're just gonna have the assembly and this nut up here. So you're gonna take this nut out, then you're gonna slide this whole power head onto it. And then from that point on, then you can open it up. So once you do that, you're gonna go over here. You're gonna take your side plate off. You got some screws here. You're gonna take your side plate off, and that's gonna give you access to the left side of the bracket, and you can mount your bolts there. The ones on the right side, you do not have to take the side plate off on the right side here, because the bolts are actually in the track inside of there. All right, once you mount the assembly down, then you're gonna put your side plate back on. Then you're gonna put your shock on. You're gonna put that shock on next. After that, you're gonna put on your bounce buster. After that, you're gonna put on your prop. After that, you're gonna mount your GPS reading puck here. And then, of course, you're gonna wire your power to your receptacle or plug or whatever you got. And then that is pretty much it, guys. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Please like, please subscribe, and leave a comment below. If you have any questions, or if you have anything to add that could make it go smoother or installation better, drop it down below. My name is Paul. This is 251 Reeling. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.